is going on, everybody? It is Evil Eddie and Carrie here for Belly Up Sports and Combat Deviants, episode number 7. Now, Steve really didn't want me to say this, but I am gonna. It is week 2 now in October. So I kind of have a little something set up for everybody later on in the episode. And we got some crazy, amazing guests that are going to be joining us on today's show, which I cannot wait to be getting into. Carrie, who's going to be joining us on today's show?
Well, we got Reggie Barrnett Jr., which I'm excited about. I'm super stoked about Jessica Blackwidow Borga. I've interviewed her. She's really, really awesome, super talented fighter. And and we have BURT WATSON. I didn't want to say his name wrong.
So listen. Since we usually don't preview who we have for guests right away, having BURT WATSON on, and we aren't even at episode number 10 yet. This is absolutely amazing. I'm going to check the live audio. Before we start anything, guys, make sure to subscribe down below. Follow us, Combat Deviants, on YouTube. We also are on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all that good stuff. And we're actually killing it. We're going to be making some big changes coming up soon. And we're actually killing it. We're gonna be making some. Sounds good. We got the audio going good, so everything's going great. I mean, I got some great topics lined up that Steve actually came up with, but I just want to remind everybody that we're getting old here. 16 years ago, Carrie, October 14th, 2006, Anderson Silva began his reign as the UFC middleweight champion. I mean, that just makes me feel so old. And now to see him fighting YouTuber Jake Paul, and everyone's all, oh, I think Jake Paul's gonna win, and seeing Jake Paul knock out Woodley, it's like, Khabib came out this week and he was like, there's been a huge decline lately in MMA, which I wouldn't really agree with. There's been a lot of excitement, a lot of growth. And at some point on today's episode, we're going to be discussing our Mount Rushmore. But would you really agree with that statement, Carrie? It's on the decline. No. There have been some weird things happening, like Hasbulla apparently got a contract in the UFC, which is weird.
Of course, there's weird things happening, but I don't think it's on the decline at all whatsoever. No. As a whole, there might be aspects of certain things that might be, like we were talking about the Ultimate Fighter being like, nobody really wants to see that anymore.
That's a good point.
Things may be, but as a whole, MMA is no, not at all. Things are changing. Things are getting, bigger. Beyond the UFC, you have PFL, Bellator, BKFC, so much going on that, like, that's a weird statement to make.
Isn't it? Well, it's Khabib, so I think he's trying to, kind of get things going. You don't hear an echo on your side, right? That's just the 3 microphones I got over here, no. Right? No. So that's a little teaser I threw out there for some upgrades that are going to be coming in, Carrie. We're going to be getting a soundboard. We're going to be getting some new mics. I'm going to be sending you some stuff. We are going to be making some merchandise as well. So, awesome. Carrie, I really want to bring this up to you because we got the gorilla as our logo, right?
Yes.
I want to make something for the girls too, as well. Because this is our logo, right? The gorilla. We got to come up with something else too, correct?
Okay, but it can't be something too cheesy, like a unicorn. Well, I mean,
pick an animal that would fight in the jungle. What would you pick?
Oh, well, I mean, a tiger.
A lion. Oh my goodness. I was just talking about the Lion King the other night, and all of the circle of life, all the lessons that were learned. And if anything's been on the decline, it's been the movies lately, not MMA.
You just reminded me of one of the cutest moments that I saw in mixed martial arts when I was at Invicta FC. I think it was 47, Zapatella versus Ducote 2. When Courtney Lion King, when she came out, and I believe she fought, what was it, Chelsea Chandler, and she came out to the song Lion King, and you see this guy just take his kid.
I see
He put it
a
up, and it was just the cutest thing. The whole place was dying. It was adorable. It was
you know what? That's going to be one of the questions for BURT WATSON when he calls in here soon, because he's had so many legendary stories happen through his day. I mean, going back, I got to go through my notes, but like just off the top of my head, even the UFC embedded now, it doesn't feel right without Stitch there. It doesn't feel right without Burt there. I got to ask him so many questions. He used to have so many amazing clothes. I got to wonder, where did all those clothes go? This is the one thing that bothers me. I got to bring this up, Karen, and you probably feel the same way. Back in the day when I would see Stitch, I would see Burt, I would see, Goldie. It felt like a family. It made the UFC feel more homely in a way.
Yes.
Right? Do you feel like that's been missing, or do you feel like that's still there? Because we just got someone resigned. Brendan Fitzgerald was just resigned. I just saw on Twitter just now.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think there's something missing there? Because BURT WATSON was called the babysitter to the fighters.
I do. There is something to be said for that. You got Goldie gone, but you got a lot of new guys that are great. But there's just something missing. Maybe it's the older guys. Maybe it's
like having somebody there,
like,
right?
Fight that, having someone around that's like, a little seasoned in there.
It's like going to an event and not seeing me or you there, basically, like on press row. Or it's like not seeing.
It's gonna be, you better come.
Yeah, or like not seeing Ariel Helwani there. So I'm basically saying I really miss BURT WATSON, Roland, and he's had some funny stories. So I can't wait for him to be calling in. And fun facts, I don't think anyone even knows this. He actually met Nelson Mandela, or maybe that's a Mandela effect. We're going to find out in just a little bit. Also,
what's your favorite Mandela effect?
So you want to talk some Mandela effects? I wanted to bring this up for week 4 of our October Halloween special.
And I'm going to freak. Go on.
UFC MMA Mandela effects. Things that you remember that never really happened. That's a good one, right?
Okay. Yes, I like that, because I feel like, did Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate fight 2 or 3 times?
Three times. They fought three times.
Twice. I said that so many times, and so many people have battled me on it. I'm like, if they fought a 4th, it wouldn't even be worth it, because there's no point.
And they fought in Invicta. Then Ronda came over as champion. Then Ronda was supposed to fight Miesha because she did the season of The Ultimate Fighter.
But Carmouche.
Kat Zingano was actually supposed to be the coach, but Kat Zingano pulled out, and Ronda was pissed. And it's kind of funny that you bring Ronda's name up, because one of the rumors why Burt left the UFC was because Dana apparently sided with Ronda's team, or it had something to do with Mark Munoz. So I really want to get to the bottom of that. I'm sure people have heard it over and over again, but this is Combat Deviants, and we got to ask some deviant questions. So, Carrie, one of my questions, I'm jumping a little ahead here. What was your favorite thing to dress up for Halloween?
Okay, I've had so many great Halloween costumes. I make them myself. I do theatrical makeup.
I've been over there. Your whole crib is Halloween.
It's great. My entire wardrobe is a Halloween costume. I dress like a freaking superhero every day. I'm always in leggings and like a tight top ready just in case shit happens, right?
Yeah.
definitely between the keyboard warrior that I posted the other day, because that like people were coming up to me like, yo, that is fucking epic. It was such a good costume. That and last year Captain Marvel was great. Because people were coming up to me like, you look like her. I'm like, thank you.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because at some point in the show, I'm going to be asking everybody, who would the person below you be if they were to dress up for Halloween as a UFC fighter? So we're going to be getting into that. Carrie, what else are we going to be discussing on today's show? Because there is a lot.
All right, so I know that we have some different notes because we all have some different opinions, but I want to bring up PFL, the championships at the Hulu Theater, Madison Square Garden. We are back. Eddie, you gotta come. I definitely want to talk about that, but we have so much to talk about. USC Fight Night, Grasso versus, and I can't, Arujo. I don't want to pronounce her name wrong.
Carrie, before you even talk about the card, tell people why they should go, because every time I've been there and you've been there, it's one hell of an experience. Like, usually people are like, it's better to watch it at home, but the Hulu Theater, it's so personal. I mean, you could be a couple seats away from Kamaru Usman. Like everything's right. Everything is right in front of you. What have been some of your favorite things about going to the Hulu Theater, Madison Square Garden? One of my least favorites is trying to find where the media check-in is. I did a vlog on it. It took me 45 minutes to find every time I've been there while it's raining. But what are some of your favorites? Because we've got to see some epic fights and epic fighters like Nate Diaz, Kayla Harrison. So what's some of your favorites, Gary?
So I love that I have like really great relationships with officials and with even commissioners and stuff. So I really enjoy that I get to see people that not everybody knows because they're more in the business end of it. And but one of my favorite memories ever was when we were there with Lindsey Van Zant. And we're sitting there and they're doing the Star Spangled Banner, and all of a sudden Dan Mergliotta turns around and looks at me and he goes, and I was and he came up after it was over and gave me the biggest hug and spun me around. She's like, how do you know Dan Mergliotta? I'm like, I know everyone.
You know what?
Everybody. If I'm sitting next to a referee, I'm going to introduce myself like they're my colleagues. It's not, I don't do the fangirl thing. So I have a very good relationship with him. Kevin McDonald is a personal friend of mine. Very, very fun. He's actually one of my favorite personalities out of all the refs in MMA.
So Steve is checking in right here. No, Burt is not called in yet. Steve says he is on his way to be calling into the show. Elm City Drill says, can't wait for Evil Eddie to make us crack up tonight. Well, I'm definitely going to be doing that. Like I said, we got Reggie calling in. But one of my favorite things, Carrie, going backstage at MSG was one of my favorites. I got to see the giant checks that they had backstage. And here we got Burt Watson checking in with us right now. What's going on, Burt?
Man, you know what? I am so sorry I'm late, but
you are not late. You are not late.
Right on time.
And you know what? You blame her. That's Mrs. Watson.
Oh, we don't blame Mrs. Watson.
and I'm gonna tell you something. That's the first time she's ever done a show with me ever in my career. So you get it first.
Burt, man, you always bring the spirits up. You've had such an amazing life. Have you ever thought about doing like a documentary or anything on you? Because I mean, we could go back and watch all the embeddeds. The embeddeds are not the same without you.
I'm in the process of working on something, and I'm in discussion with some people to do something. So I'm excited, but I'm always listening to options now. Now I know I need to listen. Okay. Yeah. But it's been amazing, just meeting people like yourself and you guys and everybody else and everybody keeping me relevant, because this is a hard road to hoe, baby.
It is. And I give you a lot of credit, man, because it's always the people that keep a smile on their face that are usually hurting the most, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. But you know what? My smile is real because at and now I'm going to divulge something else to you. At 74, trust me, I'm living the life and I am happy. I've met some amazing people. I've worked with some amazing athletes, you know, in boxing, starting with Joe Frazier, on through Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones, you know, Muhammad Ali, and then getting into MMA with Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture and George St. Pierre, you know, and Amanda Nunez. It's just Anderson Silva. I could just sit here and just name drop all night, but it's
well, Burt,
a love.
It's actually an anniversary now that you bring up Anderson Silva. 16 years since he began his reign as the champion, since he started really rolling.
And guess who was there?
You, my man. You, my
Yes,
man.
Sir. Yes,
so
sir.
I got a question. You brought up Joe Frazier. You left out a couple names though.
Okay.
You got to meet Obama?
Yeah, I got to meet Obama on accident.
On accident.
On accident.
I'm in a show.
I'm in a show in Pittsburgh. So we're doing some things, and one guy was in the workout room, and he said to me, well, the treadmill's not working, and this is not working. And I said to him, they're working because I checked that before you got here. But he said, no, it's not. So I get up, and I said, you know what? You wait here. I'm going to go check that. So I went over to check, and there was some security guards standing out there, and luckily the hotel manager was there. So I said, you know what? I need to go in there and check the treadmill because this guy's telling me something's up. He went over, he talked to the guys, security guy said, come on. They walked me in the room. Room's empty, 2 other guys in there, nowhere in my head, because I've seen security and I'm used to security, so I wasn't like wondering why security was there. Yeah. But as I'm walking through, I hear one of the bicycles pedaling. I walk around the corner, and who's on the bike but Mr. Obama? No. And I wanted to say, oh, shit. But you can't say that to the President of the United States.
I got a question now. How is he doing on the bike? I mean, who you compare him to?
You know what? He was sitting back with the newspaper, and he was reading. And I looked at him, and I said, what's up? He said, I'm fine. How are you, sir? I said, I'm fine. I turned around and walked out. I walked out of the room, and in my head, I said, I don't believe I just said, what's up to the President of the United States? I called my mom.
What's up, Obama,
my mom,
baby?
And I said to my mom, I said, guess who I just met? She said, who? I said, Obama. She said, you get his picture? I said, no, Ma, I was not going to go to the president and ask for a picture. But that was, you know, I've met him, and that was a chance meeting. He was I was surprised the security let me in there, Secret Service, but they let me in because I was with the hotel manager, and he vouched for me. But to go in and to see him sitting there, boom, you know, same thing. I met Mandela like that. And
yeah, you're stealing all my questions here, Bert. I was about to ask you, is it a Mandela effect that you met Nelson Mandela?
That was awesome. It was he was at the United Nations.
He was at the YMCA in the swimming pool or something. You were about to say.
Well, no. What happened was when Nelson Mandela got out of prison, he said that the 2 things he wanted to do, well, a couple of the things was to meet Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, because he was an avid boxing fan. So they called our office and said that Mandela was going to be at the United Nations, and they wanted Joe for a quick shout out. So we got in the car, we drove on up there. We got to the United Nations, they took us down in the basement. But I'm used to going into the basement underground with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. I walked in, turned around and walked in this room, and who's standing there but Mandela? I'm looking at him, and I'm, you know, like he was glowing. You know? And luckily, I said to Joe, I said, let's take this, the WC belt, the belt that he won March 8th, 1971 from Muhammad Ali.
What a memory you got, Bert. Wow.
Hey, I lived it. It was
Bert's an elephant, man. I'm telling you. Bert's an elephant. He don't forget nothing.
And here's Steve for the audio listeners. Steve, welcome.
My man. So we
Friday
took that
Night Lights, man. When you got kids playing football, sometimes things go a little bit over. It happens.
Ah, man, trust me.
Steve, he's
They
telling
were
us.
killing it, man. They beat them boys 40-20, man. It was a whooping.
Oh, wow.
They were just running them ball down them poor kids' throats. I felt bad.
He's telling us how he met Nelson Mandela and Obama right now.
Hey, man.
You know what? That was
got some legends in his pocket, man.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Out of all of that, the biggest surprise for me, and my wife is sitting here, so I can say that, I met Sade.
Oh.
I was, and I got a private one-on-one in our dressing room because I was going to put John Jones and those guys in that dressing room.
That was one of my mom's favorites right there too. Sade. That was one of my mom. Dude, that used to be in the car for my entire childhood.
You're like my son and daughter. All they listened to was James Brown and the Isley Brothers and Barry White. That's all they heard.
That's because you ingrained it into them, Bert.
Now, Bert, I heard you're a wedding crasher as well.
Okay, damn. Who was that?
For Joe Lozon. I heard you crashed Joe Lozon's wedding.
Well, I kind of crashed, but I also got invited. But you know what? They asked me to dance. Well, I did. You know, but it was memorable, man. It was Joe Lozon was definitely, and he was one of, you know what I called them? All of those guys are my kids. Joe Lozon. I see Max Holloway, George St. Pierre. I had them when they started. Matt Serra, Frankie Edgar. You know, when they were kids, when their eyes were big and bugged because they were there in the UFC. And honestly, when I started with the UFC, I had no idea. I knew what Bruce Lee and Bruce Leroy. That's as much as I knew. I knew nothing else about MMA because I came from boxing. But when I got my first, I did my first MMA in 1999, I think. My first UFC was UFC 30.
Wow.
And that was either 2000, 2001.
Wow.
But what I was amazed was that I used to see in boxing, you got in the ring and you kicked somebody's ASS, and then you kicked him and then you talked about his mama and his family, and there was no real love. When they were serious. But when I got to MMA, I saw how guys did that and they bowed and respected each other, and it was I wasn't used to that. But to see it, man, it was definitely awesome for me to see it. And now looking back on that 22 years ago, my goodness. To be able to say 22 years ago, to see now where it's come. And now I'm with Bellator.
Yep.
And to see the progression of the athletes, I saw them when they were fighting like this. When they were, you know, and I saw this go to this, where they were smooth and throwing where the technical skill level progressed with the sport. And that was awesome to see. Guys were really, you know, I think the Diaz brothers, because they did a lot of street fighting. When they came in, they was fighting anyway. So they knew how to, hold their hands. But to see that technical skill level get to the point that it is now is truly amazing. And I'm amazed. And
now, I gotta ask you, you just dropped the Diaz brothers, Bert. So obviously, you know, Nate's got a lot, has kind of surpassed Nick over the last handful of years of kind of that star power. But obviously, you know, he played his contract out. He probably, as I said, you know, no one won bigger that weekend than Nate Diaz. Gets the win, gets out to go out on his own terms, and is about to start his fight promotion. Do you see him actually going to sign with another MMA promotion? You think he's just going to do everything his own way?
Well, I don't think they're done, because, you know, most athletes have to stand the test of time, and it all comes down to conditioning, your mind, the philosophy, and the things that you do to get to that level. And Some fighters stay in and until they get beat up. The Diaz brothers have not gotten to that point. I think that they still got a lot of conditioning. I think they still got a lot of technical skill level. And they've learned, guys learn how to slow down. They learn how to stop rushing through a fight and how to take a fight. They take a fight a year. And you got to know that. When you do a fight a year, the longevity, you got enough air in that tire to run it till it gets to about 15. So
now let me ask you this, Bert. What was your day like? Because a lot of these fighters, they got to be up early for the weigh-ins. You had to be in charge of so much, man. I can't imagine how you were able to do it for so long. Was it difficult for you? Because you always had a smile on your face. Like I said before, Connor said you were the man that kept everything all together.
My man. Well, first of all, I loved and enjoyed what I did. So the love of the sport and the love of what I did, I learned how to respect people. And that was first and foremost. Because when you learn how to respect them, they give you that respect back. And when they respect you back, they listen to you. Now, there's a difference between hearing somebody and listening. When you hear somebody, that stuff goes over your head. But when you listen, you digest it. And guys, when they know you respect them and they respect you, they listen to you. And aside from that, I didn't play. When I asked you to be someplace at a certain time, you need to do that, or son, you need to sit down and tell me why. Because I just gave you all the respect and love that I know a father or somebody, a coach or whatever gave you. So now you need to give that back to me.
Yeah.
So, I gave it. And I can tell you, once in my career, and I won't mention his name.
Was it Mayhem?
He's got to mention his name. Now you putting him on the spot, Eddie.
Oh, man.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
I've never had anybody, and I mean all of them, Randy, Chuck, Tito, George, all of them, Matt,
We got into the Rushmore right here.
they all, Crow Cop, whoever, they all respected, even when they, what was crazy for me? Even when they didn't speak English, people knew from the body language, and like you say, you smile and you touch, they knew what you meant.
Like you and Henan Barrow, you guys with the hair and stuff, like you were able to communicate. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Wow, you did your homework, bro.
I'm a journalist.
Yeah. It was, what? I had a hotel room call me one time and say, Mr. Watson, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, all of our pillowcases and sheets are blue. And I'm like, what?
That's a real problem there.
They brought me down to the laundry room and showed me the sheets in the room they got it from. So I said, you know what? Do me a favor, put it on our bill, and I'll go bite the bullet. So they put it on our bill, and I went to Dana, and I started the conversation, and you know what? He looked at me like I was crazy. You gonna bring that to me, and you didn't handle it? That was the last time I took anything to him, ever. He didn't say it, but like your mom give you a look, she don't have to say nothing.
Why are we having this conversation?
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
are you out of your mind?
Steve gives me that look a lot.
Well, you know what? I now have, I've been blessed with 5 wonderful children, and I've got 5 grandchildren, and my grandson just graduated from Yale. I got a
wow.
I got a and he played 4 years football. I got a granddaughter that's in William and Mary for lacrosse, and I've got the rest of them that are playing football or lacrosse and headed to college. Wow. And I'm blessed, man. And you know what? I tell my kids, be careful of the crumbs you drop, because somebody's gonna pick them up and either eat them or step on them. And if your kids pick up your crumbs, they're gonna eat them. Now that may sound a little yucky, but trust me, they knew what I meant.
Well, I'm from New Haven, where Yale is, and we do eat crumbs over here
Really?
sometimes, even though
But-
Yale is here.
But it sounds like the three of you had good crumbs. But you know, it's what you lay down and what you give and what you give to them and what they see, you know, and you know, I just got recognized that I'm proud of. I just got inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame, and I am very proud of that for, you know, for what I've done. So now I can, you know what, I can talk about it. You know, before I had to live it. Now I talk about it because but at the same time, when I go to an event, they expect me to perform. Trust me.
Of course. It's like us. I try explaining when the camera's on, just like the fighters when they step in the cage, we got to put on a smile. We have to perform.
100%, 100%. And nobody takes excuses, you know, but it is what it is. And I appreciate you guys giving me this time and giving me this platform.
We always got time for Burt, man. Always got story time for Burt.
Well, Burt, I got to ask you something.
Yes, sir.
What were some of your favorite Halloween memories over the years in MMA? You know,
you must got something on your mind because, geez, Halloween. We had so many shows. Tell me what you're thinking about.
It's Halloween month. Eddie's just trying to get some fun stories out of everyone for the holidays.
Here, let me switch up the question then, Burt. How did you find out Santa wasn't real? How did you find out Santa Claus wasn't real?
Okay. I see where you're going with this. But you know, let me tell you something. It's one of those things where Halloween is one of those, you know, I had maybe 5 or 6 shows on Halloween night. And guys always prepared and always did something. After a while, it wasn't crazy anymore. It was just expected that what they did. But there was one Halloween, and I forgot who he was fighting, but it was Edson Barbosa. Decided he was going to dress up for Halloween and come down in a mask. And then there was the guy from Brazil, Hani Noah.
Oh yeah.
Wore that mask.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ronnie, yes.
You know, so those are my memories. You know,
jiu-jitsu guy. Wow.
Yes.
So what happened with the whole mayhem thing and the gas mask? Was it just because he had to get out on time? You had no time for that?
Well, okay. You pulled it out of me.
I had to.
But here's the deal. The thing is that initially he had a bag on his head.
Yeah.
A bag.
A garbage bag or something, right?
On his head. It was a brown paper bag on his head. One eye in there. And I'm like, you know what? It's all right, but you need to adjust it or take it off. And he said, I'm not doing either one.
Oh.
That was not right.
Yes.
So I said, you know what? Yes, you are. You're doing either what I ask or what's right. You got a choice. He said something, so I snatched the bag off his head, and he had the damn gas mask on. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? First of all, I want to know, how the hell did you get that bag over that mask? So at that point, you know what? It was new, and it was new to me. I didn't know exactly how they're going to react. So I said, they need to see your face now. You don't. So we had a tete-a-tete about that, and I think I let him go till he got to the curtain and the cameras went on, and I snatched that mask.
Yes, Burt, you're the man.
And he looked at me, but you know what? The cameras was on. So he went, but when it was over, he expressed it. He didn't like it. But you know what? The respect, because those are fighters. They have one way of settling things. And they don't care that you're 150 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? If you step here, you're going to step out of here at the same time. But they know, and they all knew, that I had nothing but mad respect for them. I always said to them, you know what? I can F with you, but I'm never going to let anybody else F with you.
Yeah.
Ever. So keep that in mind. And you know what? I got nothing but mad love and mad respect. And from those who were trying to buck the system, when they got to me, they kind of slowed it down a little bit. And I just said, you know what? That shit ain't swinging this way, baby. You got to flip that script. You got to flip that script. And they did that. And then I'd walk away and say, man, I had John Jones once. We were doing something in the MGM. And he came, and I usually give a speech to all the fighters, you know, before or after a weigh-in. I give them a speech for the night before, but I give them this kind of speech.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of my speech, and I can see him coming down the escalator late. He walks in the room and walks around the back of the room, and I stop. I said, no. Hold on a second. You come up here, son. And he looked at me like I was just, and everybody turned around and looked at it. I said, yes, you come up here, Mr. Come in here late, disrespecting me and everybody else in this room.
Mr. Come in here late.
Yes, sir. Disrespecting me and everybody in this room. I said, you know what, son? I said, your name ain't big as mine. That's the first and last time I said that to somebody. I said, so you can't do that. And never, ever can you disrespect anybody sitting in this room when you got to go through the bushes with them. I'm a Vietnam vet, man. I was in the Marine Corps, and I learned in the Marine Corps. Everybody had to crease their slacks, put their hood on the same way. And I said, and that's what you got to do.
Why is the sky blue, Bert?
Because it's supposed to be.
All right, let me switch gears here real fast. So, Bert, obviously you've been around combat sports on all sides of it, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, everyone likes to throw the thing GOAT around and everything like this. I'm going to go about this a little different. Who's your Mount Rushmore of combat sports?
Randy Couture.
Without a doubt, I might agree with that.
Then you asked for the Mount Rushmore.
See, but I didn't say MMA. I said combat sports, so we can go
Okay.
boxing. We can
Yeah,
go,
I got you.
we
I
can
got
go
you.
anywhere.
I got you. Because I'm going to name those that I think sometimes, you know, I do a podcast called Legends to Legends. And it is just that. And somebody said to me, why don't you have this person on? I said, this person is still fighting. And they're still making.
Legends got to be done. Legends got to be done.
So I've got Randy Couture. I've got, of course, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. I gotta have those two.
Well, I knew the next two were coming. I knew that was coming.
without, and I put Joe Frazier first, Muhammad Ali. Then I'd have to go. With George St. Pierre.
I knew you were going to say that.
George, see, a lot of people forget about George. Everyone gets so obsessed with Khabib's run. Everyone thinking like George St. Pierre didn't exist or something.
I'd have to put George up there, and I got to tell you, I'm trying to think, and you know, I cannot remember her name, and I feel crazy that I can't, but I got to put her up there. One of the first females that I worked with, I started with Layla Ali, was actually the first female. I went through Layla, I went through Christy Martin, but Layla changed the landscape of women in combat sports. She made it where it was visible, the cameras were there, Showtime followed her, HBO followed her, so you know what, they followed women in combat sports. And I think that that's probably one of the things that has not been given more attention to is women in combat sports. Amanda Nunes, you know, they deserve Kat Zingano. I mean, you know, it's these women are still blazing trails. And I think that a lot more recognition has to be given to those. So somewhere I'm going to put two women up there, save a spot for some women to get up there because they need to be.
Yeah, I was like, you need more because like you see what Amanda Serrano's doing right now, Clarissa Shields is doing right now.
Yeah,
they're blazing trails in boxing right now. You know, And you know, I agree with you that I don't think enough of the female combat sports stars get enough credit as
no, they don't.
They should. Rose Namajunas is somebody who, you know, who's a multiple time champion. I don't feel like she gets the push that she should probably get either.
I remember Rose when she was trying to corner Pat. Because I remember when Pat fought Crow Cop, was it? I forgot when I first met her, but she was just a young. To me, they're all kids. Because I'm 150 years old. You know, and I remember when she was young and just kind of starry-eyed, and you know, now she's, you know, but all of them. I mean, you know, it's been a hell of a ride, man, to sit back and look and see that. And you know, my very first fight was March 8th, 1971, and that was Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. And that was it for me. That started me in my career and started me interested in combat sports. And I boxed a little bit in college. I won one and lost one, and I was done. Yeah, it was like, that's not me. But I stayed with it, and I found that I was better at coordinating and putting people together and keeping people at a good comfort level than I was getting in there and trying to win a fight.
Well, you're good at snatching the gas masks too.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
And you know what, Bert? You always dressed really nice. You
Thank
always had on really cool clothes. I remember you used to have this Bruce Lee UFC shirt. I wanted it so bad. It was a red shirt that you used to wear.
Still got it.
You still got it.
Still got it.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
it's still fresh.
It's still fresh.
But I've also put myself in a little clock in a corner where, you know, I got to represent. And
yeah.
And you know, right now I'm
Fedor sweater. You got to rock.
You see it, don't you?
Oh yeah. I see what you're wearing.
I'm having a great time with Bellator and good people, and you know, see the new champions coming up and the way things are going.
Well, Benson Henderson loved you. How hard was it to see him? He retired, correct?
Well,
last fight?
You know what? I think he did, but I tell you what flipped me was the last fight he had to see children. I had these kids when they couldn't have children. Okay, you know, when he had his pro debut, and to see him as a father and 2 or 3 kids running around, I'm like, holy mackerel. You know, that's a reality check when I see those kind of things and see that I've you know, I've worked with a few father and sons, you know, aside from Joe and Mark and Randy and his son, and a few brothers combination. But when I see their kids, it's, you know, and Ben is legitimately a nice kid, nice guy. I always thought of him as a Zen master until he gets in that cage, and he flips that switch, and he looks like he wears glasses, but he doesn't. Okay, but when those eyes go like this, he's done. Done. I met his mom. His mom is nice. I met his entire family.
All right, so we got 2 more before we get ready to let you go, Bert.
Good,
I know what was it? I think 2 weeks from now we got what was it, Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. Do you think Anderson's gonna teach Jake Paul a lesson?
Well, I'll say this. They both have learned how to fight, learned how to box. There's a skill to learning how to box. Anderson Silva, as quiet as kept, has always been a good boxer, but he never had to really use that in the octagon. His spottery technical skills, grappling and so forth, were always, that was it. But he never had to display his boxing skills, but I know he can legitimately box. And I think if he doesn't get reckless, because Jake Paul does have a knockout punch, whether they think it or not, he does. anybody that gets close enough and get clipped is going to get knocked out. So I think if Anderson kind of keeps his distance and frustrate him, because nobody has frustrated him in later rounds, Anderson's going to stand a good chance. I think if he doesn't think about it and rushes in there because it's Jake Paul and he want to get him out there, I don't think that's a good strategy for him. I think if it goes past 3 rounds, 4 rounds, I'll give it to Anderson Silva.
I already said I think Anderson stops him in 5.
I think so.
Okay, I said 3 or 4. I give it to Anderson. So we about on the same page.
We're in the same on that one, Bert.
Yes.
Now there's being in Bellator, there's a lot of rumors going around. Fedor's last fight is coming around. He's looking for something special, and Anderson's name has been thrown around. Who do you eventually see Fedor be in that retirement fight, being the one that just this is going to be his swan song?
Well, I think a retirement fight should be memorable for the person that's in it. I don't think they need to take a guy that's going to retire and put him against a guy that's on a fast track. Guy's going to retire, and it's his retirement fight. The public, if you put a legitimate name in there with him, the public is going to accept that. And I see him fighting another name that's at his level as a retirement fight.
I agree.
Him and Anderson Silva, I think that's good in namesake, but the styles are so different.
Completely.
The styles are so different. So
Definitely.
and I'd like to see Crow Cop, and I'm sure they would like to see him go out with a victory, or at least in a good matchup, as opposed to something that's one-sided.
Yeah. I don't want to see him beating up a can. I don't want to see him beating up an up-and-comer. I want to see something that's even, that makes sense, and that's fun, just not just for him, but the fans and everyone involved. I just want to see a fun matchup.
I want to make sure that I'm there.
Yeah, we got to make sure Bert's there for that one. That's gotta be a special one to send Fedor out on his last walk. That definitely has to be special.
Yes, sir. If anything that I have from all of my years in combat sports, which now is at about almost 40, I have pictures of everybody I've ever been with.
Wow.
Yes, sir. I got pictures.
You're the Obama of MMA. I want you to know that.
You hear that, Miss Watson? Look
later, call me Obama.
I didn't save anything else but my pictures. I got pictures with.
That's the only picture you don't have, though, is of you and Obama, though.
I was afraid to take a picture. I was, in a room with him by myself, I was afraid to walk over to him because I clicked in my head. I've been in too many events where somebody tried to get to the star and didn't know security was watching.
Yep.
And believe me, the president of the United States is few levels above just a star.
Oh yeah.
They would have sniped me from the roof. So you know what? I played this. I didn't go in my pocket. I just looked at him and walked out. But yes, you're right. He's the only one I don't have a picture with. Anybody else, I got it.
Now, Bert, before you go, I really do want to ask you one more question here. Yep. Over the years, you've had so many amazing memories. Do you still have people coming up to you and just thanking you for all that you've done over the years? Because you really are missed. Like we really all miss you so much.
Well, yes, sir. I realize it, when that happens, and I'm still a little kind of stunned by it, but I've had people say thank you for what you've done, and I see what's written sometimes, and I am so thankful that I learned to love life and enjoy life and not abuse life, because I come from West Philly. I could have been one nasty, what. But
anyone who's been anywhere in near this city in the past 5 years knows exactly what Bert's talking about. It is not a fun place to be in certain parts of the city.
So, I've always been thankful, and I've always known You know, when and I'll tell you this and I'll let you go. When Anderson Silva he fought, I think it was his last fight I worked with him with the UFC, and his kids ran in the back and they wanted to walk with him, and they couldn't. And they didn't know what to do with his kids. And Anderson Silva took his kids and brought them to me. That man gave me his kids. And that clicked in my head that if a man thought enough for me to give me his 2 children, didn't know what I was going to do or what, but he thought enough to come and bring them to me, and I took them and gave them seats.
You still have them?
Yes. And I read about that almost 10 years later.
Wow.
So,
wow.
You know, it said to me, you know what? Everybody's watching, man.
Yeah.
People don't forget. But he thought enough, because they know. I mean, how many people take their kids and give them to somebody and said, take care of them? And that's what he did. He said, here, gave me his, and I think they were like, one was like maybe 14, the other was like 16, but they were old enough to get in that arena and to be seated that close. And I took them, and he thought nothing, went out there and won his fight and came back and thanked me.
That's amazing. That I really hope you realize what that really means, and it seems like you do. You really are looked at like, you know, a father here in MMA, and I think you belong on the right.
Bert's our grandfather for combat sports. If people don't know, man, they should.
Now, well, I tell you, old enough, that's for sure.
Would you ever judge? That's my last question. Would you ever judge when you retire? Would you ever consider doing that?
You know what? What I like doing is being impartial and having my phone ring unexpectedly, because it still does. I won't tell you who just recently called me, but I get, and either it's a call, because my number has not changed in 20 some years. So it's either a call or I'm now on social media and Instagram. I get a little DM from Instagram, and that means a lot to me. 100%.
Yeah.
We all still care about you. You're still in all our minds and all our hearts, at least here on Combat Deviants, Bert.
I'm about to buy your website, by the way.
After the next couple of years, I want you guys to have me back so I can tell some more.
Oh, we definitely will, man. You know, we definitely will, Bert. I love picking your brain. I love hearing your stories. I love your insight in the combat sports world, Bert. I always love having you on. Carrie, anything you want to add before we let it go?
Do we have a couple minutes for me to ask a couple questions?
Go ahead, baby. Yes, ma'am.
Bert, you've been through so much. You've been, you know, with the UFC. You've gone through Bellator. How was the transition? How was going from, you know, UFC was great, but Bellator is an amazing organization. They don't get enough shine, and I mean, there's a lot of people from UFC there now. It's amazing.
Well, you know, it's the transition was easy because it was good for me to still be relevant. It was good for me to still be in the sport at a high level, you know, and then when I see the guys come over, and what was good is that, you know, they knew who I was, and they accepted that, and the transition was easy because they accepted me. You know, now I'm called Mr. Watson, you know, because I'm an old man or whatever. But you know what? The transition is good because I can see and I can feel the sport and what I've done in the sport and with people. I feel it now because I hear it, and I love it. You got another question, ma'am?
Well, I actually was going to say, I'm looking at a lot of pictures of all of your work, and probably one of my favorites, and it's not a picture of you, it's actually a picture that somebody made, one of those meme things, and it says Daddy Daycare, and it's got you being pulled by all these fighters on a billion ends, and it's just, you're the fight dad.
You know what?
Epitome of who you are.
You know what, ma'am? You just brought, you know, I told you that Mount Rushmore of women, I'm going to put Ronda Rousey
I knew you were going to say her too.
Ronda Rousey, because that picture with Daddy Daycare had her. I had her and it was Cain Velasquez, and it was all the champions at that time. It was about 20 people with their pulling my tie and my hands.
You know, in that time, and this is something to be said for what she did for women's sports.
Yeah.
And she is still such a star that I remember that year when she first won the belt, or it might have been, it was the year that she won it in the UFC.
Yeah.
There were little girls everywhere dressed up for Halloween as Ronda Rousey. It was amazing seeing little girls dressed up as MMA fighters with their space buns, and you could tell who they all were trying to be. And it was so great to see that on such a grand scale, because there was a lot. And she did a lot for the sport. So I'm glad you brought her up.
I heard, I was there at one time when Dana White said that would never happen. I was there. You can print that. And when I saw Ronda get that belt and the crowd that was there, I was like, damn, look at this. You know, and it was this, because I feel the excitement of the crowd when you walk George out, or you walk Randy, or Chuck Liddell runs around the ring because he knocks somebody out and he does that famous scroll. You know, you feel the crowd, you hear the crowd. And the crowd for Ronda Rousey was, I think her and Michael Bisping were the two loudest crowds I've ever heard. And that was Michael Bisping when we were in London.
I was about to say, I was literally just talking to the UK BKFC guys that we had on here the last few weeks, and I was like, is anything like that the pop of the O2 Arena when you have a hometown guy like Bisping go in there? He was like, it's second to none being in that arena.
Those are the two loudest crowds I ever heard. Michael Bisping, Rousey.
All right.
No question.
Well, Bert, before we get ready to let you go, how I end this thing, man, typically throw it over to you. Anyone you'd like to thank, shoot out your socials, anything you're working with outside of combat sports, the time is yours, my friend.
Well, I love the fact that I can be followed on social media, BURT WATSON for real, on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I love that. Please contact me, reach out. You reach out to me, I'll reach back at you. And one of the things, I am a cancer survivor, prostate cancer. I'm 2 years cancer free. And I work with an organization called Zero, the End of Prostate Cancer. And I'm an advocate. I speak to a lot of young men who are going to be old men. And I speak to the coaches and the trainers. And I tell guys, go get checked, man. Go get tested. Get it done, period.
Yeah, cancer's a very serious thing. People who don't know us here in Philadelphia, we just lost a Philadelphia Philly. The kid was only 20 years old, man.
Yeah,
it's rough. Everyone go do regular checkups, everything. Bert could not be happier that you're in the clear and you've been clean and clear for 2 years.
Yes.
Keep it up, man. Keep us informed, man. We'll definitely have you back on here in the future. Love you, my friend. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All night long.
Thank you, Bert.
All right, love it. And I'm pretty sure this is a seamless segue because I know waiting in the back is our next guest, the one and
look
only.
Look at the background.
Blackwidow Borga. Miss Jessica Borga, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure getting caught up with you. First and foremost, everything good and clean after the hurricanes and everything down there in Florida. Everything good?
Yeah, we got lucky. We're kind of in the central area, so it doesn't usually get too bad for us. But we replaced our fence, and we had no electric for like 2 days, but nothing major.
That's good. That's definitely good. No serious flooding, property damage, or anything like that. It's good getting in and out and not having anything real to worry about when hurricane season hits. But obviously, definitely had to get you on because you're training and getting ready for a different animal this time. Putting MMA in the back seat for a temporary period of time because we have a new bare knuckle fighting championship fighter on the line with us tonight, and Jessica's getting ready to make her promotional debut here, right in her own backyard. Obviously, probably had something to do with it as well. But walk us through it here, Jessica. What made the transition from MMA to the other side of combat sports and bare knuckle?
Honestly, I've been wanting to since it pretty much started. This is like my thing. Ever since, if anyone knows me from the start of my career till now, really, I like to stand and bang. I like to, I love that. And ever since bare knuckle even started, I was like, man, I really want to do that. So I kind of had to talk my coach into doing being.
Yeah, you had to talk someone into it. All right, there you go.
Yeah, well, I know it wasn't the easiest either because there's not really a division. For my weight class, it was a little bit taxing for them to be able to find someone. So I'm just happy that they were able to find someone, especially in my neck of the woods. It's been a long time since I fought in Florida, and I am going to bring a crowd, and I'm stoked to be able to do this.
I know you're happy. I know it's one of the things. I'm pretty sure as soon as you seen MVP fighting, like, all right, it's my turn now. You're letting MVP go over there fight. I want my shot.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I was waiting around for a fight for it was a year. It's been a year, and I want to keep moving. I want to keep fighting. I want to keep busy. So this is I'm not done with MMA. I'm not even close to being.
Oh no, I know. Like I said we're putting it in the back seat for now. For now. I know you better enough to know that.
But this is awesome until then. So I just needed something to keep me busy.
Now, is it just something to keep you busy, or is it something that you want to hopefully be semi-active in?
I would love to be active in it. I really would, especially if they get a 145 division. I know that's kind of it's not definitive that it's going to be there, but it would be awesome if there was more girls that, were in my weight class.
I mean, it's kind of the hard thing where I think it's the only thing you would have to really say is the downside of bare knuckle right now is that there's no definitive weight class that are sitting there saying like, okay, we can fight at this weight and we'll make this. There isn't a contracted list of fighters in your weight class under bare knuckles banner. So guess the thing is make an impression and say, Dave, let's bring 145-pound division and let's get this thing off and we can start getting this thing going.
That's what I plan on doing. That's what's got to happen, I guess. Bang, make a splash.
Now I don't want to take too many of the things up. I know I tend to take some of the things that Carrie want to ask. Carrie, I know I don't want to wait too long to get you involved tonight. Let's get you in and talking to Jessica.
I'm sorry. It's every time like you want to ask something great, and all of a sudden either a fighter just says it because you guys have been interviewed so many times, and we're all so in tune that how could you not ask similar or the same questions? Jessica, how are you? I haven't talked to you in so long.
I know, it's good to see you. I'm doing great. I actually feel better than I have in a really long time.
You look great.
2 decision losses. And, I've never lost 2 in a row, so that's irritating as hell. But it was decision losses to girls that were all the way in the top 10. So it's not, I lost to some schmuck or whatever. But I feel so good because I went through so much medical stuff last year. And that really didn't let me perform at my best. So, and I'm feeling really good for this fight. So I'm excited.
You look good. You look like you're in great shape. You're glowing. And I mean, it's amazing to see you getting into something different. I think that's awesome for you. One, we've all said before, BKFC happens to have a look. They like girls that have a personality, that have a presence. And you, my dear, personality and presence.
My person fit through the doors.
How do you feel walking there post MMA? Oh, did you? I don't know if you heard me, but how do you feel walking into that cage doing bare knuckle as opposed to doing MMA for so long?
I honestly don't. I mean, of course, I've been practicing just that one martial art, so it's different than practicing all the martial arts. But it actually is, to me, easier to focus on one thing. So it's actually been really a good change, like a nice change of pace. So it's, I'm excited. I'm stoked. It's not much different. The walk down is not going to be much different, but the performance that I'm going to do is gonna be.
I am excited. Every time you fight, you put on a performance, and you always, every time you go to weigh in, you have something to bring. You're awesome. I can't wait to see this fight. What can everybody expect of you on fight night?
I want to showcase all that I have, the progress that I've made in my stand-up, because I honestly don't get to show that even in my fights. Like it's I'm known as the jiu-jitsu girl now. So, and it's funny because I started as a brawler. Everyone knew me as a stand-up fighter with no technique at all. I just had a power punch. So I was just going, head hunting, and I would knock them down. But now I want to show technique. I want to show, I want to be able to showcase that and everything I'm learning. So I can't wait. It's going to be good.
So can I ask something? I don't want to cut you off, Carrie. I want you to roll.
No, I only have one question left, and you go, because I
want you to roll. But
I was going to ask you how it feels having your hands free pretty much versus being in the gloves, because you've obviously had to have trained for this fight with bare knuckle. How does it feel?
I like it. It makes me faster. It's for me. I know it's gonna hurt. I plan on it hurting. It's not gonna be. It's not a not brutal sport. I know, and I intend for it to be as brutal as possible. So I'm ready for the pain, but I'm gonna cause more pain. So I'm ready for it.
Eddie. Is he there? Eddie?
You took too long on your question. He just left.
No, I have a question. What are you going to be doing with your hair on fight night? You always have awesome styles. Do you have any mind?
As long as it's out of my way, I'm happy, but probably just the 2 French braids back. I'm excited though, because our outfits are a little different with
that. My next question was, what are your outfits?
I made a spark with mine, so I'm excited to showcase it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. Did you get to have a hand in what yours looks like? Is that what you just?
I created the whole thing. Well, I mean, of course, I didn't make it. I had the idea and I sent it in.
Oh, very cool. So this is like just going to be a big surprise for everybody.
Yes, it's a custom outfit, so I'm really excited about that. It's different. You don't have to worry about the MMA kind of style. So it's nice. I'm so excited.
Do you think you might have a career in design?
Probably not. I'll probably think it's awesome, and everyone will be like, "What the hell?" No, it might be a surprise in a bad way for everyone else, but I'm gonna like it, so it's fine.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing that on fight night. And gentlemen, you can take the mic. I don't know if they're there.
No, they left. They took off.
She wants to ask 100 questions. No, it was all I really wanted to ask, but the last one was the hand question, because people don't realize there is a gigantic difference. There you are, Eddie. I don't know if they hear us, but
I had to grab my rat because he was looking for me. There he is. He's over here. I wanted to ask you. I was going through. I hope you don't get offended by this.
Oh, I don't get offended.
I really want to make an OnlyFans for myself. Right? I have girls over all the time, and I ask them, and they're down for it. They let me record them. Like,
yes. I mean, do it. But if guys create an OnlyFans, I'm going to tell you one thing, that the popularity for you as fans that are going to subscribe to you is going to be the gay popularity.
Oh,
so you're gonna have to be.
I'm fine with that. My little brother's gay. They got money.
If you're good with that, you content with your sexuality, then go.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, our generation's so different than our parents' generation. To us, like, if something's like when we watch fighting, that's appealing to us. That's all that is for them too. You know what I mean? And I think, like, when I see Conor McGregor in a thong, that's not appealing to me. But I want to do that. What's the best way to do that? Because I even tried checking yours out, I tried checking a couple people's out, and you cannot look at them unless you pay money. What would be like a good starting
Of course,
price?
you think people are stupid?
My favorite thing is when guys are like, "So what's on yours?" I was like, "Well, you gotta have to kind of
Exactly. Exactly. So, like, what should I start for, like, at a price? Like, how do I go about this?
Honestly, the best thing that you would do is subscribe. You would create your page, and the best thing would just be doing it for free for a little bit until you get more fans. When you create a fan base, then you go to $4.99, or you would go to I wouldn't go more than $4.99 at first.
A month?
A lot of people are at $4.99, and then you get more money per the pay-per-views and stuff like that. So, in the messages is where you make more money.
And how often a week would I have to do it?
Oh, I am on my daily.
You posting content daily, brother.
Yeah.
Daily.
I mean, Steve knows. I mean, I was late for the last show because of some stuff that was going on.
Okay, so my lifestyle, it was easy for me to make it too, because I know a lot of people that have OnlyFans, and we were already hanging out.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We were already hanging out, and we were already doing it. So I'm like, shit, why aren't we getting paid for this?
You weren't hanging out. You were just laying around.
Yeah, laying around.
Well, see, if you think about it, everything's completely changed as far as the athlete and this stuff goes. I guess the proverbial fourth wall has already been smashed, because if you look at it like the way it's set up now, like if you look at BKFC, OnlyFans is one of the in-ring sponsors.
Yeah.
You look at other promotions that where they have some type of thing going on with that. So we're at the point now, like it's up to you on how you wanna run your OnlyFans. Do you want it to have it just be the athlete content? Do you want to have the athlete content and then your paywall with your spicy content? However you want to word that, whatever. But I think when you look at it, whether it's OnlyFans, whether it's Patreon, whether it's Fansly, whatever everyone's poison to get that extra content they want from their special content creators. It's all another avenue for everyone. And I think it's something that just, as I guess the world is more accepting of it, society's more accepting of it, in both the way it's being involved in I guess our content sports.
For the most part, I wish it was actually more accepting, because there's a lot.
I know exactly what you're talking about there too, Jessica. Because like I have mutual friends who'd be like, "Oh well, you're an on-air personality. What are you doing retweeting or posting?" I'm like, well, just because that's what their content is doesn't mean I should shun them for what they're doing. They support my content blindly. Regardless if I'm talking football, if I'm talking basketball, if I'm talking hockey, or if I'm talking combat sports. It shouldn't matter what my content is compared to what their content is. It shouldn't. If you're my friend and you support me, I should blindly support you in the same way.
It's not hurting anyone. Let them do what makes them happy. Whatever they choose to do, that's their choice. Let it go.
Well, and I know what you're talking about too. I had a athlete. I'm not going to name names or throw in anyone.
Was it Mayhem?
No. That's everything with Mayhem with you. You stop it. This athlete is a female and was like, I'm unfollowing and blocking people who repost X type of content. The funny part is this person had just won a big fight, and their biggest fan was this person who runs an OnlyFans account. I'm like, wait, so your biggest fan, and you're sitting there posting this person all over your socials, has a openly like that you have an account, but the fans, that people that supported you, they can't repost. Like, which side are you on?
Yep.
So it's just one of these things where it's like, to each their own. Like, if you don't like that, fine. Remove me, block me, do whatever. If that's what keeps you peace at day, more power to you. But to other people, like, it's one of these things where I think that it's going to come a time where it officially become something that is just an acceptable part.
Are you worried about that having an effect? Like, people wouldn't want to sign. I remember years ago, Steve, you and Carrie, you probably remember this. A ring girl was fired for having photos. Just simple photos.
That's crazy. No, I am not worried at all. If people don't like me, I could care two shits. Honestly.
I'm waiting for her. She could give 2 fucks less.
Yeah.
I am me, and
you're winning. Like
I'm
your
not,
thing says.
Yeah, I'm happy with me. I'm completely content with me. I could care less about how many fans I got. Like, I don't care. I do it because I love doing it. And the people that love me and are real fans, they'll follow. Like, I'm not worried about it.
So what's the difference between OnlyFans and Chatterbait? Because I was gonna do Chatterbait as well, which is live.
Yeah, so I haven't yet, but I know about it. So I'm not familiar with how it works, besides the fact that it's live. So you know, people will pay.
They send like if you're a girl, they send you a little vibrator, and every time you get a donation, it goes off.
Yeah.
And like that excites people. I don't want to put one in me though, you know. I'll probably get one like look put peanut butter on your balls and let your rats lick.
That's how Eddie's gonna land as the Manscaped sponsor. He's gonna shave his what's on Chatterbait.
Oh my God. But listen, what happens if this does happen? Like girls do agree, so let me film them. And what if they're like, you know, a year later, like take that down? Like, would I get in trouble?
You have to sign. Make anyone that posts anything sign an NDA.
That's what they have. Actually, a form. OnlyFans has a form that you actually make everyone sign that you indefinitely have the right to post all that content. Yeah. So go back and change it. You've got it on a contract.
And I don't have to pay for my account, right? Or do I?
No, you do not have to. They will. Well, I mean, they take 20%. So you technically.
Yeah.
You just pay them at some point.
Well,
but it's gonna take a while to build up too. It's not it's because everyone's freaking doing it too. Everyone's accounts have gone down too. It's not like unless you are like Paige Van Zandt, like someone that has millions of followers. It's not like you make a ton and you cannot. It goes up and down. It's not a for sure thing. So that's why I hustle in I make money off Facebook Reels.
TikTok. I see you jamming out on TikTok.
Jessica is everywhere. It's crazy, yo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And this is one of the things why I'm really excited for her to get this opportunity, so she gets on another stage where she can potentially not just grow her OnlyFans, but just her star, her brand in general. I think it's a great opportunity for her. It's in her backyard. This is one of the things like that fighters typically dream of. Like, listen, like when you get opportunities like this, you just look on her face. She's freaking giddy over there. She hasn't even gotten a fight week.
I am. I've been like this since I found out that I got a fight. Really, even before when I was like hearing that there was a possibility, I'm like, oh please. I'm just excited. I can't wait.
Now, do you agree that when we're starting to look at the way BKFC is doing things, do you think they have a type of fighter that they're looking for when they look at the female athlete?
I'm sure they're looking to bring in, the girls that can throw down, plus they look good. So they're bringing in all the crowd from them too. It's a smart business move. If you ask me, I don't care who's going to get mad about it, because there's fighters that are like, oh, you have an OnlyFans, you're not really a good fighter. You don't train. We have OnlyFans so that we can train harder. So that always really ticked me off. But in my opinion, it's a good business move on them to get, girls that have a huge following in different, social media aspects that look good. They want to see girls that look good throw down. I mean, it's sex sells. We all know that. We're not stupid to that. It's sex and violence. It's the two biggest growing things in the world, and people's got to realize that and not get mad about it.
People also tend to forget we're we're talking about a sport that is dominated by the what viewer? The male viewer. Okay. So here's the thing. If it's dominated by the male viewer and you have female fighters on there, what's the two things that you're gonna want with them? They gotta be violent.
Yes.
Obviously, Eddie throwing it down for us, showing us a little preview what Jessica does on her free time. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, I think they do have a type. I don't think anyone should basically sit there and say that it's necessarily a bad thing for them to do, as long as the athlete themselves actually can fight. what does it matter? It's more eyes on them. It's more eyes on the sport. It's more eyes on the promotion. It's like what was the girl over in Thailand when she won her fight? She flashes half the crowd. Her freaking her page blows up.
It was smart on her part. I mean, because it was literally the news, all the news for like weeks. Like, it was smart. It's bad publicity.
No, let's say the smartest part that she did about that was smart enough to know where the cameras was that got to her back.
Yeah.
I think that's the smartest thing she did there.
That is true. If she did it on purpose, props to her. But it still makes them want more, so they go to subscribe to her OnlyFans. Smart girl.
But that's also a thing. And the funny part is that you go and look at her. She's sponsored by a former porn star.
Yep.
It's like you can't ask for. I mean, when you look at what's involved in the sport, like, listen, sex will always be involved in combat sports in some way, shape, or form, regardless of where you've grown and things of that nature as a sport, and things of that nature. Combat sports, you're always going to have, girls will always be a part of it in that part of selling the sport. So what does it matter anymore?
Exactly.
We already know what it is. We're coming to this is the acceptance of what it is. If that's not what you want, great. You know where you can go find it. That's why that's another reason why I think it's great that a lot of you fighters have it, because then you can direct the idiots out of your inbox to go get this. This is where you wanted to go find and talk to that. Fine. There's where you go. Have a nice day. If I see you on there, we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, that's one thing I do not mind telling people when they reach out to me, because I take care of all my social media by myself. And I know a lot of people have other people or companies and stuff do that for them. I do it all myself, and I have no problem telling people when they're retarded.
Have you had an issue at all dealing with other companies? Because I did see in the past, some people have issues like with paying or you not understanding the contracts the right way. Have you had those kind of issues, and what are you doing now to prevent something like that ever happening again?
Unfortunately, there's some on OnlyFans, people can request a refund after getting the all the stuff that they paid for, so the videos and stuff like that.
So if I let my rats lick me, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Okay, there are rules though. OnlyFans is pretty strict on
no rats.
Fluids. So
oh really?
No blood, no feces, no nothing crazy like that. They do not allow that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
They're like, we're keeping it classy over here.
Yeah. Go to Twitch if you want to do that.
We're keeping it classy.
All right. Classy for OnlyFans status.
Yeah. So not only do you have the OnlyFans, you got the TikTok as well. How many hours a day are you putting into all of this along with training?
So with fight camps, I pretty much put almost everything on the back burner. I will save some videos and I'll release it at different times, but most of the time I focus on just my training during fight camps. It's my mind is one track. Besides my family, of course. Any spare time I do have, I spend it with my family.
And my last question before I start producing, I saw that your kids are in the Kids World Records.
Yeah, so they actually got in the book. I actually bought the book too. I didn't actually know all of them because I only got an email about one of them. And so I bought it and I realized that all three of them were in it for, yes, thank you. My husband just brought it to me. So
that for what? What did they get awarded for? That's so amazing. It really is.
She climbed up the 8.5-foot pole, the fastest.
Oh, I do that. I do that when Steve's blowing my phone up.
Yeah. So, and jumping jacks, and the other one, I believe. Let me see if I can find it. I don't want to take up too much time looking for them. I know you guys got.
Have you ever what's something that I remember when I was a kid, they had guts and they had shows where these kids would perform their crazy stunts and stuff like that. And I always wanted to do something cool.
They do have some crazy stuff. I mean, this book is like full of like kids that just come up with some crazy stuff. And I mean, hey, if you're coming up with the first thing, you can. So, but they got the longest piggyback ride, like most jumping jacks in 1 minute. So it was pretty cool. Like it was just a thing that we were doing that we were bored. And
you didn't even know they were all in there. Wow.
No, they only let me know about one, and then I ended up looking through it just to see, and they were all 3 in it, which I was all right. Our kids
that's awesome. That really is. All right, I'm gonna produce the show. I'm gonna give it to you guys. All right.
All right, we got a few more before we let Jessica go and enjoy the rest of her evening. Now, obviously, BKFC bare knuckle boxing has grown exponentially over the last 5 years or so, especially you're involved with BKFC. And what is the place? Obviously, you got to do it in your backyard immediately. Second location, are you want to go overseas? Do you want to go to the UK? Like, where would you want to pick your second fight?
Well, my last fight was in London. So the UK, I'm telling you, they have an amazing crowd, and I do love it. It does take a lot out of you to fly over and stuff like that, but I would be so willing to go there again because the UK has a crowd that it amps you up in a different way. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, it was one of the things like I wanted to ask you. We literally just had Burt on in the O2 arena. He's like, there's the 2 loudest crowds I've ever been to. Ronda Rousey's for title fight and Bisping's when he was over there in the O2 arena. He said those are the 2 biggest crowds that he's ever heard in his entire life. He's covered a lot of stuff. He's, his first fight was freaking Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. So, I mean, if he's sitting there saying them 2 are the most memorable, and the UK fans is kind of what I've been hearing. Like, listen, us American fans, we do love us some combat sports, but they a different type of rowdy over there when it comes to combat sports.
It definitely was, and I was the underdog going in, and I still got like the crowd. So I was like, I love y'all.
So UK is kind of you love to go back there. If there's another destination that you could punch your ticket on your your passport there, where would you want to go?
Australia. I was like, I honestly have not I have not thought about it like, oh my goodness, this is definitely, I just want to fight wherever and whenever. But Australia, I definitely love Australia. I would love to go there.
Halloween's around the corner. What's the Halloween plans, my friend? I know you always do something.
Yeah, I usually do, but it being literally like 4 days before I fight, probably not going to go all out, but I haven't really decided on what I'm going to do yet.
What about you, Carrie? You doing something for the Halloween party this year? What? I know it's your thing.
I am. Actually, next weekend, I am having a UFC Fight and Fright.
Fight and Fright. There you go.
Yeah, party at OC Smokers Club.
I love what just happened.
Husband's like, hey, are you guys done yet?
It was like last week. Oh, man. He's like, is there a rat on this?
We got done with her, I promise.
Is there a rat on this?
We're almost done.
No, but I gotta ask you this though. What are the kids dressing up as for Halloween?
I got one Scream. My son is actually going to be Scream. Our daughter is, a princess, which is no.
She already is a princess.
Girly girl all the way, and one's a T-Rex.
T-Rex.
The blow up one.
my son's going as Michael Myers, so.
Oh, Steve, be careful, dude.
Scary stuff. The other ones are like, no, I don't like anything scary, so they don't really.
No, he's getting to that part where like he's starting to like wanting to start watch those type of movies. Like we had him watch Beetlejuice the other day. He was like, wasn't that bad.
Yeah, mine wanted to watch what's the funny scream one? The scary movie.
Oh yeah, no, you can't do that. There's some certain scenes in there. No.
But no.
So when that movie came out, I did not know how graphic it was going to be, and my grandma brought me to see it. And there's a scene in the movie where the guy, I didn't even know what cum was at the time, and that's how it was bad. My dad was like, "Are you kidding me that you brought my mother?" Yeah, I'm gonna get back to producing.
That would have been awkward.
Yo, that's great.
No,
oh man,
like no way, son. No.
Oh, that is funny.
You try to keep them possible.
So obviously, like what's your go-to Halloween movie?
Oh God, that's a good question. It's hard for me to pick my favorite.
Because you have to think is you have your OGs, but then you have stuff that's came out like within the last 15, 20 years. It's like we can't totally dismiss some of these. So like,
I don't know. I don't. Oh, Halloween, not scary. Halloween. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm gonna think on that because now I'm wondering what would be my favorite. Because everyone always watches, like the Jason and like
Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers. Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers are like kind of the three main ones.
Yeah,
those are kind of like everyone's go-to. I'm trying to see if anyone had something outside of that. What about you, Carrie?
You're one that's like not really known. It is a Halloween movie, but it's also a scary movie and a comedy. It's really old, but not old. Idle Hands.
Idle Hands. I've never heard of it.
Oh my God, you haven't seen that? Oh man.
Write that down.
You're welcome. Great.
Oh my God, especially for some of the stoner people. It's gonna be great.
It's actually funny. It's a really good movie.
Oh, that's awesome. I gotta check that out because I've never even heard of it.
Oh, it's so good. I actually think it's like safe for like young, like not young kids, but like maybe 16, 17, like
teenagers.
Early teens,
like,
early teens.
Yeah, it's not like a sexualized, like everything else. It was a funny movie. It was actually more comical than anything.
I know my son likes The Nightmare Before Christmas. He loves that one for Halloween. We watch it like literally every Halloween. He loves that one.
Yeah, when you have the kids that are in the tweener age, they always love that one.
Yeah.
Mine's always been Friday the 13th type kid. So
yeah, that's typical ones. I don't know what my favorite would be though.
What do you guys talk about? Favorite Halloween?
Yes, favorite Halloween movies. That's right.
What about House of a Thousand Corpse?
That's a great movie.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Especially the end of it. The Freebird at the end. Come on. Oh, that's the Devil's Rejects.
All right, listen. If I have to go one and I want to scare somebody, it's 13 Ghosts.
Dude, great movie. The whole house is glass. Dude, I forgot about that movie. It's a great one.
It's hard for me. Like, scary movies don't scare me, and they're just not like.
Yeah.
It's not even to scare you. It's like more like they catch you off guard and startle you. It's not even to scare you.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Movies that could happen one day. Those movies really freak me out. Those are like scary.
What is your cat doing, Carrie?
He's scratching. Leave him alone. I sat there and seen him scratch. How do you not put that together? Jesus.
I can't see. I have a different screen than you guys.
Wait, you want to see something really funny? If I could get her to get up. She's being a bitch. I shaved her like she's got a big mane and she's really skinny like a lion right now.
Oh.
I like that cut. That's cool.
I tried so hard.
So I have one.
Skills came in really handy.
One question. Do you guys have pets at your house or no? What do you guys got?
We have a zoo. We have 2 dogs, 2 cats, 3 bearded dragons, a snake, some fish.
Wow. That's definitely a zoo. One time I had 120 something rats running around here at my house. I say it on every episode because I love it. I live the real life Gremlin movie.
Did you have any? You could have fed it to them.
All right, my last question to you is where do you go shopping for these clothes that you get? Because
Facebook. Honestly, Facebook will pop up an ad, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's cute," and I will buy it.
Facebook stalks the ever living hell out of us. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Jessica, anytime we go and look up something, you go back on Facebook and there's an ad for the thing you were
You
just
say
looking
something.
up.
It's artificial intelligence.
No, it's because Google and Facebook are intertwined. So when we go and look up something, then we go on Facebook, the ad is right there for whatever we were just looking up at.
Yeah,
no matter what it is.
I did an interview with Tim Kennedy and we spoke about it. It was pretty freaking interesting, the stuff that he said. And he said it's pretty much a form of artificial intelligence. It tracks what you search.
I just think that both
Like,
Google and
your
Facebook
own personal
and a lot of
algorithm.
the social media sites are intertwined with what we look up.
It's like your own personal algorithm.
Yes.
So based on your IP address, it will literally put in what you search the most. So if you don't want to see it, stop looking it up. I tell people that all the time. If it's coming up in your feed, it's because you've looked it up enough that it's there. But secondly, can I just say those outfits, like, they actually come that nice, because I've always been afraid it's going to be like one of those Wish, like, you know, oh, you were at this.
No, you ain't lying, Carrie. I have to stop my mother consistently of that. Go ahead, Jess.
Wish is horrible. You are correct on that. Like, I don't order anything from Wish anymore because I'm not a size 000. Okay, because big. So I definitely pay attention to the sizes. But yeah, for the most part, I've gotten lucky, and I do definitely like things that are not norm. Like I like. Woo.
I love that. Dolls Kill. You should look on their website. They got a lot of really dope shit.
Yes, ma'am.
So one last question before we let you go. Me and Carrie and Steve have been discussing something. We want to know if you would think this is a good idea. Carrie is amazing at playing pool. We want to set something up where we do interviews where she's playing pool against other fighters while we do the interviews. Would you think that would be a cool idea if we did something like that?
That would be cool.
Different, right?
Yeah, that's different. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, then I have an ultimate goal in mind.
What's that?
Joe Rogan.
Well, my idea is to do the haircutting.
That you have to give him, you know, maybe a shave because he has hair.
Yeah.
Shave him up, barber shave.
I think the barbershop one would be pretty cool, but like I said, that kind of narrows it only down to the guys. Where the pool table, guys or girls, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter which side of it. But
Carrie's badass. Like they could set up like Carrie's she kicks guys' asses.
Yeah, I'm a tournament player. I've been shooting since I was 21 years old, and I'm 43. So, and I mean, I played for fun when I was a kid, but when I really got serious into it, I didn't even know there was like a league or tournaments. I just thought like, oh, I would go to the pool around the corner, and I just knew how to like, you know, shoot a little bit. And the owner was like, no, you actually have like decent technique if you want to like play on the league. You know, if we win, we go to Vegas for nationals. And I'm like, when does that happen? And they're like, it happens in August. And we won that season. It was the first time I went to Vegas for Worlds, and it was amazing. It was like, I fell in love with the sport. And how could you not? We didn't even have to pick
cool.
for us.
And I do know there's another Blackwidow in that sport. Have you met her?
She is surviving cancer right now.
Oh, what?
Yes, Jeanette, the Blackwidow Lee.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about that during our interview, that she's a Blackwidow as well. She's so talented. I believe she has breast cancer. I'd have to look it up, but she's doing well. Every time I see pictures of her, she looks great. Thank God. You know, because you want to see someone looking healthy when they're going through something like that. And she's, you know, had it for a while now. So, but that was a big impact in the billiards community, which people don't realize. It's international. Holy shit. I had a pool tournament that I helped with a couple of my friends. We threw it, and it was an MMA fighter and a pool player. And the pool players were more the professionals, but there were some professional MMA fighters. We had Mickey Gall was there. He played with Mika Immonen, who's one of the best pool players ever. Earl Strickland, who Joe Rogan does impersonations of all the time, played with Kevin Ross. So that was our main event. We had like a whole...
Awesome.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. And like to see fighters be able to play that have never picked up a pool cue and see ones that actually really could play.
Yeah.
It was very, 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 very fucking cool.
Awesome. And I hope the best for her too. That's not ever easy, I'm sure, to go through. That's crazy.
No, it's definitely not the easiest thing, but we all hope that she, does well with that and survives it. And, and anybody that's got cancer, we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah. It's definitely not the best thing to go through for anyone. That sucks.
No. Oh, but that's, you know what? Sorry. The last thing I was going to say is we have in the pool community a Conor McGregor, and his name is Jason Shaw. He is one of the biggest personalities. Even Earl Strickland is. They're both extremely loud and in your face. And I mean, two of the coolest people. But it was so funny because when I met Jason Shaw and I'm talking to him and he's like, how do you understand me? I'm like, it was when I wrote for MMA UK. I'm like, oh, they're all from Glasgow. And he's from there. So I knew exactly what he was saying.
That's awesome. That helped out.
I gotta do this for the fans, for the clip, for the highlight for Instagram. Yeah. Tattoo show off, Carrie and the Black Widow. What's your guys' favorite tattoo that you guys got on you, and can you guys show the video listeners?
Yeah. Mine's on my thigh.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
My clothes, it's not really like easily to
I can make it happen, I think.
Subscribe to fans, you can
pull
see
up a pant leg. I can pull up a pant leg and show it off. It goes all the way around to almost my ass, and it goes down.
That's not easy for me. I got spandex. Oh, go.
Go.
That must have hurt, right? Does that hurt getting a tattoo there or no?
No, my spine. My spine was the worst.
See, mine was the thigh.
Mm.
Mine was fine. My thigh, but I've had it done like 5 times because it was a cover-up. So that's probably the only reason.
Yeah, probably have some scar tissue over there built up or whatever. And
because that's.
I'll tell anybody that'll listen, if you ever want to get a tattoo removed, you can come and talk to me. I will get you into tattoo removery, and they take care of MMA fighters for free.
That's awesome.
Yep, got this one almost finished. That whole blank space is going to get something dope done on it.
That's awesome.
Is that
in other words, if anyone wants to see Jessica's favorite tattoo, you have to go get her OnlyFans.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, sorry. Usually I have my ripped up jeans, and we all know. And that would be an easy show, but
we're trying to do some more stuff. I'm gonna find some stuff so we can have some more fun type of content, conversations, things of that nature. Good.
You guys are
obviously changed up a lot of things over the last few years. New location here for me over here at Belly Up Sports. Couldn't be happier right now. We got a lot of stuff going on. They got a lot of stuff going on. It's gonna be fun. But right before I let you go, Carrie, any last words before we wrap this one up?
Just super excited to see you in there, and actually loving the rock and the signature pink hair. I was excited to see it. I was hoping you didn't change it. I've always loved Jessica's
and
hair.
also, I'm gonna see if I can get the guys to put out a post as we get closer to fight week. I still have a few of those photos I sent you last year. So anyone who correctly predicts Jessica's fight, and also screenshots us that you have subscribed to either Belly Up or Combat Deviants YouTube channel, I'll enter you in to win a signed 8x10 by Jessica. So
love it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
All right. So again, you know how I do this, Jessica. Throw it over to you. Anyone would like to thank trainers, teammates, social sites, sponsors, all that stuff? The time is yours.
Yes, of course. I'm going to name all my sponsors, the 2 company for clothing, Secret Society and Eye Candy. I got Roadhog Racing, B&L Tires, DAS Executive Protection, Otis 12 Bar and Grill, and of course, First Nutrition. They've been with me since the beginning. Champions MMA and Lights Out Boxing. I am so stoked about Lights Out Boxing because they have been with me since this fight camp, really, and a little bit before. And I am stoked to show what they have shown me. And, of course, Team Rage, Warrior Combat.
Yeah, definitely have to get your love for the sponsors out of there. That's definitely it. Always one. Always got to give you that opportunity, my friend. As always, best of skill in the upcoming fight. Hopefully, not the last time we see you in BKFC. Hopefully, we see you back in Bellator at some point in time early next year. Hopefully, like it's one of these things you can go back and forth to each one.
As long as yes.
Listen, it's one of the things that I said. The one thing I love with the direction that combat sports is going right now, it's no longer this thing where you can only fight in this place or that place.
Yeah.
The only way you could be successful now. I think it's grown so much in so many different ways that it doesn't matter if you're in BKFC, if you're in BYB Extreme or whatever. You're still one of the biggest promotions,
That's what BJ Penn was trying to do years ago.
And I also think that what we're seeing over the last year and a half with what's been going on with the UFC is that a lot of the fighters are just getting out of their contracts and doing whatever they can do so they can compete in multiple different things. Where what we've seen what happened with Nate. I know Burt doesn't think that they're done yet as far as Dana and Diaz goes. I wholeheartedly think they're done, regardless if the stuff we've seen, like this will always be your house kid now, that stuff that Dana said to him. That's all fine and dandy. I think they're absolutely done. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up in somewhere like a Bellator for a fight or two, but I think it's more you're going to see a lot more fighters get involved in start promoting their own fighters, their own guys, the guys in their backyard, etc. But I think it's going to be one of the things where the scales are starting to finally even out a little bit. And even if some people will always kind of feel that anything that's not that 3-letter word will be inferior. I wholeheartedly will always disagree with that, just because no matter what the UFC does, they will never, ever, ever, ever be able to get 100% of the best fighters in the world on their roster. It will never happen. We will always have this conversation. There will always be an argument.
Yep, I agree.
It's one thing you got to love about the sport, because it's always changing. What you love about combat sports is that every time you think you have it figured out, the combat sports world just flip you.
Curveball.
Exactly. Turn it all upside down on you. Now I don't know what I'm doing. It happens every few years in this sport. Just like every time you think you know something, the laws of physics, everything gets changed up. But Jessica, as always, appreciate the time. Looking forward to it. Best of skill in the fight. We'll have you back on here in the future, talking some more shenanigans with us.
Thank you. I just do want to give one more shout out to my husband for helping me with everything during fight camp. He knows he's the best. But thank you guys for having me on.
I want to thank him for his little cameo.
He keeps a smile on your face. He keeps you interacting with us.
Yeah, dude.
Gotta give hubby some love too.
Cheers to that.
He does.
This is for you. Best of luck for your fight.
What is it?
He's taking a shot for you.
And I'll let mine up for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, Jessica. Enjoy your night. Have a good one, my friend.
Bye.
And thank you for the advice.
All right, everyone. That was Jessica, the Blackwidow Borga. She's one of probably the more underrated, content creators, combat sports fighters. She's a unique person. I always love catching up with her. You guys got a little bit of it tonight. She's like an onion, man. She has so many different layers to her. A single mother for a long period of time in her life, until she's just recently, within the last few years, married her husband. So her sons or kids are awesome. Anyone who follows her social media, she has so many different layers to her. She's much more than just a fighter. She's much more than just an
like
object to ogle, man. She's a smart woman. She's a very entertaining person to watch in the cage, outside of the cage. if you haven't, guys, gotten on her social medias, regardless if it's the OnlyFans, regardless if it's a TikTok, if it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever, she's always active. She always engages with all her fans, her supporters, etc. Is one of the things that sets, I think, not just combat sports, but people like Jessica apart from the rest of the pack. I really truly hope that she's able to kind of put some things together over the next few years and go and make a run, regardless if it's in bare knuckle boxing, or if it's in Bellator MMA, PFL MMA, however it winds up working out for her. She's somebody I wholeheartedly believe deserves anything that she gets. She puts the work in. She does what she's supposed to do. You can't help but root for people like that. We're always supposed to be impartial, and I do my best to do that. Doesn't mean we can't help but root for who people generally are as people.
Dude, she has 46.8K likes on her OnlyFans. And you guys can find her at Sweet Venom. She has 1.3K posts. So definitely go check that out. November 5th in Orlando.
I know, like, some people don't like to get involved in some of that, and some people do. At the same time, like, listen,
why not?
If there's certain people that are worth like being in that type of engagement. If that's what you enjoy, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that means they're also listening to our show. Did you see that thumbs up go up as soon as we started talking about it? Someone was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, okay." But no, I'm serious about doing that. You'd be surprised how much money some people are making right now doing that. And what she's doing, not just that, the TikTok, that's a lot of work for a fighter to do. And I give her a lot of credit. I can't wait to see her in there.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, she's one of the very, very, very few athletes that we have that are as active on their socials that still run all of it by themselves. They typically either push one or the other off on management, or
like, we all have to help each other with ours.
Like, dude, like, it ain't easy going back and forth to this platform and that platform. It's not an easy thing to do, and she's doing it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, OnlyFans. I can only imagine she probably has a few more other platforms. It's a job in itself. And oh, by the way, she still has to run a family, train, and be an athlete, and actually have a job in a profession. She, if memory serves me, she still has a 9-to-5. So, I mean, like, listen, this is why I sit there and said, like, we're in a rare spot in combat sports where we get to be involved with these people who just they are amazing people on top of amazing athletes and top of interesting personalities as well. So it's one of the things, Eddie's throwing it out there. Make sure you show Jessica some love. She's getting in there. Was it November 5th? BKFC 32. Hopefully we're able to reschedule Reggie. I'm not sure what happened there.
He went missing again.
He wasn't active on social today. He's the one that confirmed the interview. We'll see what happens. Obviously, things happen in life, and we're human. We forget things, space things out. So probably something as simple as that. On the other side of it, I do have some venom I want to spit, but it has nothing to do with anything in the combat sports community. If anybody ever sees Kevin Nash, you can give him a big fuck you from me and my son.
Please explain. Please explain.
Kevin Nash was supposed to do a autograph signing here in Deptford, New Jersey tomorrow afternoon. Woke up this morning. Obviously, I had bought tickets for my son to go get some things, ordered some stuff off a line. He had canceled the signing 3 months ago. It was citing some problems with the airfare. They didn't have the proper seat for Kevin, and he was going to have to ride coach or some nonsense, so they canceled the initial signing. Unbeknownst to the fans, apparently that wasn't the case. He was haggling over how much he was charging for it and how much he was going to be paid. So today came around and he decided to continue along these lines, and he was canceled the signing again because he didn't like what he was being paid. So he basically told the gentleman who put the signing together he wasn't coming. that he didn't like the the prices around what he was being paid for the signing, and that quote unquote I get paid more to stay at home and smoke weed, end quote. So
That's terrible.
hey, listen, and people wonder why I don't really like try to involve my kids with some of the stuff like this, and all I turned around and told him today was pay attention to these things, see how people act, be mindful of that not everyone you hold up to as somebody you support or as an idol or things of that nature are always kind of the best thing for you. So he initially went and claimed that he was having some mental issues, which go ahead and be Ben Simmons, dude. Really, please go ahead and be Ben Simmons, Kevin. And the thing is, I shouldn't have been surprised about this, because you've heard horror stories over the last 10 years how he continually does things like this, how Kevin's a bit of a diva and my thing is like, listen, if you don't want to fly out there, drive out there, travel out there, why agree to do the signing in the first place? If you weren't happy with what the pricing was and what you were being paid, why agree to it? Like you can do those signings on your side of the world, on your side of the country, and have things that it's called. There's mail-in stuff, Kevin. Mail-in. These are really simple things and not blacking your own eyes. I mean, you're a tough guy, dude. I get it, but at the same time, like what were you trying to accomplish with that? Like, I mean, I get it. Like if he really is burnt out and tired out, it's a legit thing. But the fact that you canceled this prior to it coming down was one thing. Then you do it again the day before. You knew exactly what you were doing, Kevin. You knew exactly what you're doing. So you get a big old middle finger from me. You can go pound sand, buddy. Listen, as much as I don't really, think, highly of a lot of some people, but that just, it takes a special person to do something like that, to say that to a vendor, promoter, however you want to word that. That's just a rough pill to swallow. And then I had to go and explain that to my son. It's rough.
It's terrible. And you're absolutely right. He knew what he was doing. And the reason why you could say that is because people sign contracts to do those things. And you sign contracts and you know exactly what you're being paid and where the money, everything that's going to happen well before you're even going to the event. I've done, Comic-Cons and shit.
Exactly. But like, yeah, you haggle that prior to it. If you don't like it, that's not those people's problem, the promoter's problem. That's what you organized with your people.
The day contract signed, that is all taken care of. So if you don't like those prices, that's not the person to
why do you wait till the day beforehand? Like, he knew he was canceling. Let's stop playing with me, dude.
Of course he did.
He knew he was canceling that event. He knew before he woke up Thursday or Friday or today that he wasn't coming and that he was going to cancel event. So not only did you ass out those fans, you put that promoter in the spot where he'd putting all this money out to hold the event, and then you just leave him with basically his thumb up his butt. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's silly. I mean, I don't even know how else what else you could say about it. He's just a special dude.
So my dad, I guess, is watching at his house, and he said, not about the money or weed. It's about your followers and kids.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I won't necessarily disagree with Kevin's assessment that he probably makes more money sitting at home selling weed. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Like you do with your son. My dad used to bring me, dude, if my dad didn't bring me to wrestling back then, I wouldn't be here right now with my first interview being with Stone Cold. You know what I mean? That inspired my whole future. If Stone Cold didn't show up that day for my phone call, I wouldn't be inspired to be a journalist now.
Yeah.
The butterfly effect is a real thing.
Absolutely.
I make sure, but the funny thing is, it really didn't matter to me anyways. I know he's really, really big into wrestling, so I made it a point like, hey, listen, Kevin Nash is one of the biggest wrestlers, around in the last 40 years. So let's go take him to go meet him.
And
so that gets canceled, and then immediately I find a signing. What was it, January 7th, where Eagles wide receiver AJ Brown's going to be in the area. You want to do that? He's like, yeah, let's go. I'll do that.
Wow.
The worst thing is it's 2 days after his birthday. It was a birthday present. That's why I'm as irritated as I am about it.
Ooh, Scott Hall died this year too.
You didn't know that. And then, you know what the worst part about this was is like all right, the guy makes the post explaining to everyone what happened and everything like that, and people are attacking him. He was like, "Oh, well, you don't know what Kevin's going through after Scott passed." I'm like, "What does Scott Hall passing away have to do with Kevin Nash?" Basically lying, sitting there saying he has some, he needs a mental break or this, that, and the third, and then turning around and saying what he said to the promoter. But you want to sit there and tell me it was, this is because Scott passed away. Man, stop giving people crutches for bad behavior.
These are kids that look up to you.
Because a close friend of his who he left to sit there and wallow in everything he was doing. People tend to forget about that Scott and Kevin had a falling out, and Kevin was separating himself from Scott because Scott was going further and further down that rabbit hole, and he couldn't do it with him anymore. So, like,
this is going down a rabbit hole for me, man. This is wild thinking back to NWO.
Yeah, but listen, but does that give him a right to treat people that way, to treat promoters that way, to treat fans? No, it doesn't. But I just sit there and say it like this. At this point in time, it's one of those things where I'm mindful of it now. I know what's going on, and I know what to protect my kid from, and myself and others for. And all it's gonna do is going to lessen the opportunities that Kevin's gonna be able to do this stuff. He's gonna be asking for more money. And they're like, well, I'm gonna do something, but I'm gonna put whatever you're supposed to be paid into this, and until you complete everything that needs to be done, this is where the money's gonna stay.
Wow.
I would do something to protect myself if I'm one of these people and I'm bringing this guy in for a signing.
Yeah.
You have to do something to protect yourself, man. It's like I get it. Like people have things going on in life and things of that nature. And, he very, very well may have a legitimate thing with, some, being mentally exhausted, etc. These guys travel a lot. I get that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you knew you were doing this for months. You knew you weren't going to make it this week, and you could have gave this guy an opportunity to reach out to anyone. Because the funny part was, I think Mick Foley and Rikishi was in upstate PA today. You don't think they could have made a quick trip over to Jersey tomorrow afternoon? Give this guy an opportunity to give these people an event that they deserve. Don't sit there and put it in this way where you're tying this guy's hands and there's nothing he can do but eat it. That's a terrible thing to do to somebody.
Absolutely.
Because you could stay at home and make more money selling weed. It's
and now your son heard that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's seen that stuff, and I showed him all the comments and everything. Like I'm not gonna hide anything from my kids.
Yeah,
it's more like so they know better to temper their expectations on things.
It's kind of a good learning lesson, right, Kerry?
I over this past year, my son has met Jalen Hurts, James Bradbury, like all these Philadelphia Eagles. Like he has other people to look up to. He doesn't need to go meet Kevin Nash.
Not now. Now I would not.
Well, no, he didn't need to then. It was just one of those things because I know that he's involved in wrestling, and that's the part of combat sports that he's really involved in right now. He's still the biggest Conor McGregor stain that there is in the world because he has the same first name.
Funny story for our listeners, guys. I was on the phone with Steve, and him and his son were going at it about Conor McGregor. Like they were going in on it. Kerry, like when I tell you they were arguing, and Steve was like, "Go to your room."
Not disrespect Conor McGregor around my son. He will start screaming, hollering.
That's how you get him fired up for his football games, though.
I already told him one of these days I'm gonna work out something where we're doing like a live react here on the Belly Up Network for some of these football games, just so you can see how crazy this kid gets sometimes. Man.
I love it. I think it's hysterical.
So, Kerry, I do want to actually, Kerry mentioned at the beginning of the show that PFL is coming around, Steve.
Yeah, it's really close. And I already know where the next one's coming. So, are we taking that weekend off, or what are we doing?
So, me and Kerry are gonna try to get there and cover it for us, right?
applied and got my press pass.
You did? You
Yeah.
talked to, what's the lady's name?
I'll send your the information where to send it. It's they'll give it to you. They'll give it to you. Trust me.
Because last time me and you were talking, it was like last
All right,
second.
well, as long as one of y'all can come pick me up and take me to freaking New York for that one, I'm good.
Steve, I'll be in Philly, and I'm leaving in 3 days. I'll be in Philly.
By,
so
Philly's the place to be right now. It's Red October. The Phillies just beat the brakes off of the Atlanta Braves. You got freaking Dallas and freaking Eagles Sunday Night Football. Hey, ain't a better time to be a Philadelphia fan than right freaking now.
So we got 3 minutes to close the show out, and I want to thank everybody that's been tuning in to the audio podcast. Carrie, I don't know if I told you this. We've sold a lot of ads already. People are dying. That Blake Builder interview, that was amazing. This is going to top that. This episode was fun. The first 10 episodes, guys, it's usually, you're find your way. We're finding our way here, and we're having fun. So if there's anything you guys want to see for next week, Steve always has something up his sleeve.
I mean, I already got a guest lined up for you, but I'm working on a few more things. Obviously, not everything worked out the way we wanted to this week. I did want to get Reggie Barrnett Jr. on here. That didn't happen that way. We'll see how that one plays off. Well, hopefully we can get him rescheduled in before the fight, but got a lot of stuff going on right now. You got BKFC 31 going on this weekend. I'm definitely Team Richmond. I think Mike Richmond is going to get that title, and I want to see him and Hunt throw down. That's the fight to make it. If Mike Richmond is victorious this weekend in Denver, there's no other fight that they need to make besides Hunt and Richmond. It's the only fight to make. Someone tell me if I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
They tried to make this fight happen before they booked the Hero Hunt fight.
I have something exciting to announce too, Steve. Verdict with Verdict. If you guys use the Verdict app, UFC 280, big announcement coming for Combat Deviants, Evil Eddie, Steve and Carrie, and Verdict coming up. So that's a really big deal. And
basically, if you guys are betting degenerates, like a good majority of the sports fans in this world are, make sure you head over to Verdict MMA.
Yes.
Follow them on the social, download the app.
It's free.
And
it's free to
stay
download.
tuned because we got some announcements to tell you about.
Yes. Guys, make sure to subscribe down below. Carrie, where can people find you on social media?
I'm actually back on Instagram in the Girls Corner, Carrie the Stellar One, and I'm on Twitter, Truth. I'm on a whole bunch of shit. YouTube.
What's your OnlyFans?
I don't have. I don't have, and I'm going to tell you something. Between the three of us,
you're going to be in my first video?
Nope. So between the three of us, right, and all of our listeners, I would cut the middleman out and make my own server. Cut out OnlyFans. I just get my own web server.
Yeah, right. Oh, which I was going to bring up to Burt Watson. Burt Watson's website is up for sale. We could buy it. So we might just do that, just to have a little fun, just to play with them, and maybe make a memorial of all the good memories of him, because he's a great guy. I want to thank Burt for coming on. Steve, thank you for getting that.
A legit OG legend of combat sports in general, not just MMA, not just the UFC. Like, dude, he's been involved with so many different people. And actually,
there's some in common.
There's something I do want to ask him. I'm gonna talk to him off air about this, because we do have a special interview coming up in the next few weeks. So you guys are going to have to keep an eye on the YouTube channel to know when it's going to happen. I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say it's involved with boxing. It's probably one of the biggest scandals that no one has been talking about in the last 20 years.
Biggest story ever.
The fact that people involved in this haven't gone and done the right thing, not just by the person, but by their own mistakes, like everyone thought the Manny Teo thing was crazy because
Don't give anything away yet. Don't, please don't.
I'm not giving it away yet, but basically how a big major sports media company could basically not do their basic due diligence and run with something is beyond me. And
Without
it's happened
proof.
again and just in a way, way worse way.
Cheers to Steve for getting these interviews.
Yes.
Steve, once again, we're still riding high in Ukraine. People are downloading our podcast because there's no power in Ukraine and listening to us over there. So we're getting some smiles over there, Steve. You're putting a lot of work getting these interviews.
You know, fight a little bit harder, fight a little bit stronger, laugh a little bit harder tonight. Everyone, you know, everyone stay safe, stay alive. Hopefully, you know, you guys are getting food and water, everything you need over there.
Last thing, Steve, where can people find you on Twitter?
You know, it's at Steve Sport Talk 1. You know, obviously make sure you're checking out Combat Deviants on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the whole nine, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to us there. Again, like I said, anyone who wants to win a autograph made by text from Jessica, go to any one of our social media platforms, write down your prediction, make sure you screenshot us and subscribe to Belly Up's YouTube or our YouTube, the Combat Deviants YouTube. We'll get you entered in. We got a lot of stuff to do. I got more
The
stuff.
predictions too, Steve, for the Blackwidow. Remember?
What's that?
The predictions for the Blackwidow.
They have to get the predictions. I mean, listen, I already know. Like Jessica already laid it out for you. She. If people who've been following her from the beginning, she likes to throw them things. I don't care who they put up against her because it isn't nobody of note. So if there isn't anybody of note, I mean, I don't think she's gonna wipe the ring with her per se. But I mean, I don't see it getting out of the second round, that's for sure. And I definitely don't see the judges being needed for that fight. They might as well just go home for that one. That's my predictions for it. It's going to be pain and blood with Jessica's hand raised. That's how that one's going to go down.
And guys, we may be able to get you a discount if you download the BKFC app and get 1 month free with a promo. So stay tuned for that.
Make sure you guys are checking Jessica's pages. If you guys are in the area and intend to go to the fight, make sure you use Jessica's ticket code.
All right, that does it for us. You could follow me on Twitter at EvilEddieX, but really, it's at Combat Deviants. And we'll see you guys next week where I'll be dressing up as something, which hopefully I won't be too busy on OnlyFans. Maybe I might get carried away. You don't know. But guys, we'll talk to you next week. And that does it for this episode, number 7 of Combat Deviants. And once again, behave yourselves.
Peace out.